Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chesswise. Today we are at the next topic, that is analysis of a complex position, and we are going to discuss about the isolated pawn. Today we are going to see some of the benefits of isolated pawn. It is a general notion that isolated pawn is weak, but the isolated pawn is standing alone, so there are no neighboring pawns, means the files next to that pawn, they are open files. We can see in most isolated pawn cases, one file is the open file and other one is the semi-open file. Sometimes both files are also open. So as a result, the rooks are generally more active, and if there are well placed centralized pieces, then it can lead to a pawn break and attack. This is what the topic is all about. White has just surrendered his bishop for the knight and is trying to use the power of this rook on the d8 queen over here. See, the rooks generally are placed on c1, d1 if d1 is isolated, d1, e1 like in this case, or c1 and d1. So one of these three scenarios usually takes place. The rook is well placed behind the pawn because after the break of the pawn with d5, the queen and the rook come in the same line which is going to get opened. There are 5 different plans when we have an isolated pawn. Today's one is based on the concept of pawn break. White here goes with the move d5 as planned. That is why he had given up the bishop. The knight on f6 was guarding d5. Now bishop c3 loses to dc6. So e takes d5 first. Knight takes d5, and see, the first point is evident that knight f6 check is threatened, queen f6, then rd7, and gf would almost get into a losing position after c qd3. h7 would be terribly weak. Black goes b6, perhaps the only way. Now if knight f6, then queen takes f6. White goes with the move knight f4. Now white is going to put pressure on this e6 square. We will see soon. Next would be knight e6, and then fe6 will make black's e pawn weak, isolated pawn on the open file. Plus see, the pawn position in front of the king will be shaky. So if black plays qe7 over here, either knight e6, very strong, knight e6, queen e6, qd3. We can see bh7 check is threatened, and see, there is a discovered attack. Or the even better, first qd3, so that h7 is attacked. This queen cannot now go to the a5, and after g6 we can take knight e6. When fe is forced, queen e6 just allows bishop g6, so it would have a winning position. And after fe we can see the e6 pawn is isolated and weak. Maybe there is the move bishop d5. That is why black goes with the move qb6 in the game. Now knight takes e6, f takes e6, and first the move qd3. Because f pawn has moved now, see, there are only 2 pawns in front of the castled position. White wants to shatter the pawn structure in front of it. Now if g6, then white wins instantly. bg6, hg, qg6 check, bg7. Knight g5 may allow queen f2, that can also be considered, but rook d7 is simpler and should win on the spot. See, there is the threat of qg7 also, and there is qe6 also, and there is the move ng5 also coming up soon. Even white can consider the move queen e6 here itself. So black goes h6, and now qd6 attacking the pawn on e6, rc e8, and bishop c2. White now intends to use this diagonal with the move qd3. Black now goes qd4, attacking the queen and protecting e6 indirectly. Queen d3, eyeing the h7 square. Hardly there was any defense to this plan. Black goes rook d8, and now qh7 check, king f7, qg6 check, king g8. White takes rook d8. The point is that if rook takes d8, then rook e6 can be taken, because there is the threat of rook e8, queen e8, when only move queen f8 and bh7 check picks up the queen on f8. So black has to play nd8 in order to protect e6. Rook d1, queen takes b2. White rook was eyeing the d7 square, and now h4 would move. First moving the pawn so that the king gets square on h2. Black goes nc6, white goes rook b1. First putting question to the queen, black plays the only correct move queen a3, queen a2, then just rook b7. The defense which black tries in the game would not be possible with queen on a. Rook takes b7, and now bishop e7. After the move knight e7, queen h7 check, king f7, bg6 mates. If instant queen a3, then just king h2, queen f4 check, g3, queen can't take f3 because qh7 mates. So bishop e7, and now see queen e6 check, king h8, queen just takes c6, not fearing, queen c1 check, kh2, queen f4 check. See, this was the final point. Now if g3, then queen takes f3. When after trade of queens, rook f3, rook e7 is not possible because rook f2 check and the c2 bishop is lost. White goes king h3 and all the checks are over and white wins. I hope you found this topic useful and instructive. Do let me know in the comments below. Thanks for your time.